Good afternoon, greetings friends, and welcome to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program. I am Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today. Great to have you with us. We'll be taking your phone calls here in just a little bit, like we always do on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. If you have questions about medications, supplements, or the longevity products, or if you just have a comment or want to share a success story, we'd love to hear from you. Our number today and every day on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program is 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. That's 831-685-1080 priority line number, or toll-free 888-379-2552. I'm Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplementation in my practice, where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs. That's because I look at the human body as a healing, regenerating, renewing system that uses nutrients as raw materials, doesn't need prescription drugs, never needs prescription drugs, with the rare exception of perhaps pain pills or antibiotics, but certainly not for long-term degenerative diseases. All right, welcome to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. As some of you may have read a couple of days ago, there was an article that showed up in the New England Journal of Medicine, ripping once again into vitamin B3, niacin's well-known reputation for being a natural, non-toxic nutrient for lowering blood cholesterol. The authors of the study claimed no benefits to using niacin for cholesterol control. They concluded that this very gentle, multifunctional, cheap vitamin is no match for statin drugs when it comes to cholesterol control. Surprise, surprise, as it turns out, the study was funded by Merck Corporation, the proponents and the manufacturers of the statin drug Mevacor. Nonetheless, this is just an unfortunate and part of a long-standing medical model attack on the use of this inexpensive, non-doctor nutrient, non-doctor strategy for keeping cholesterol levels controlled. In the book, Cholesterol Control Without Diet, Dr. William Parson discusses at length the scientific literature that supports the use of niacin, as well as his personal experience with niacin's cholesterol-lowering properties. And I can personally corroborate Dr. Parson's findings with my own observations of dozens of patients who've used vitamin B3, niacin, and very effectively dropped their cholesterol, dropped their blood fats, lost weight, reduced their blood pressure as well. There's a famous study that came out in the American Journal of Cardiology back in 1989 that showed that patients taking 1,000 milligrams a day of timed-release niacin had an 18% reduction in cholesterol, as well as a 32% increase in HDL and a 36% improvement in their cholesterol to HDL ratio. This crazy idea of using statin drugs as part of a cardiovascular heart health protocol is just this bizarre cultural myth that has somehow become health dogma, which can be defined, by the way, a dogma is an authoritative belief and one that's considered to be absolutely true. This is despite the fact, this health dogma that says that you can take statin drugs and somehow be the better for it, this is despite the fact that there's lots of hard evidence that shows that statin drugs are associated with muscle disease, brain health issues, liver toxicity, even diabetes, according to the Food and Drug Administration. This is really an important issue. There are millions of Americans. 1 out of 8 Americans are on one or another type of statin drug. 1 out of every 4 adults over the age of 45. 25% of our adults over the age of 45 are on a statin drug. This is absolute lunacy, my friends. Cholesterol control can be best thought of as sugar control. There's a reason why diabetes and elevated blood cholesterol go hand in hand. Diabetes, blood sugar control, or problems with blood sugar control are almost always, unless there's some kind of weird genetic malady, they're almost always behind elevated cholesterol. Pretty much all adults who are subsisting on the standard American diet can assume that their blood sugar control is not good. Whether or not your doctor has diagnosed you as a diabetic doesn't have anything to do with it. All of us, over the age of, say, 20 or 30 years old, are experiencing some element of dysglycemia. That's a fancy way of saying messed up blood sugar. Pretty much anyone who's subsisting at least on the standard American diet, who's over the age of 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there, is going to be experiencing some measure of messed up blood sugar. It's just part and parcel of our modern lifestyle and the modern way we age. A sure sign, by the way, that your blood sugar is starting to get thrown off is a little pot belly. Do you know anyone, is there anyone who does not have a little pooch going on, anyone over the age of 30 who doesn't have a little pooch going on? How many people are able to say that their belly, that their gut is the same size when they're 40 years old as when they're 20? High blood pressure is another classic sign of messed up blood sugar, and most assuredly, so is elevated blood fats, and so is elevated blood sugar. And by the way, this nonsense of not eating cholesterol to lower your cholesterol is just that. It's nonsense. In fact, the more cholesterol you eat, the less cholesterol your body makes. In other words, eating cholesterol is like taking a statin drug, except you don't have to worry about having muscle disease or brain memory problems or nervous system problems or diabetes or even cancer. Do you know cancer is associated with statin drug, with the use of statin drugs as well? So eating cholesterol is actually a great way to naturally lower your cholesterol. The more cholesterol you eat, the less cholesterol your body will make. And when you eat cholesterol-containing foods like eggs, dairy, organ meats, especially liver, when you eat these kinds of foods, not only do you get the cholesterol, but you also get vitamin A, and you also get lecithin, and you also get vitamin D, and you get a whole spectrum of wonderful nutrients that are absolutely unavailable in any non-cholesterol containing food sources. In fact, I call it the cholesterol complex. The cholesterol complex is this complex of nutrients that's associated with cholesterol and found only in cholesterol containing foods like dairy and eggs and organ meats. So when you think cholesterol or elevated cholesterol, think blood sugar, and that means the best way to lower your cholesterol naturally is by lowering your blood sugar, by eating less foods that spike your blood sugar, and by eating less food in general. Dysglycemia or poor blood sugar control is a food and eating health issue. It is not a drug issue. And that means because blood cholesterol is about messed up blood sugar, that also means that if we want to lower our blood cholesterol levels, we want to change the way we eat. More protein and less sugar, most especially. And, of course, getting yourself on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. The B vitamins and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine are spectacular when it comes to lowering blood sugar. And, of course, nothing beats the sweeties, chromium and vanadium, for lowering blood sugar and ultimately lowering your blood cholesterol, lowering your blood fats, losing weight, lowering your blood pressure as well, and reducing your risk of heart disease. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We are coming back at you on the ZBS Radio Network with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. I'll be sitting in for the next 45 minutes with my good friend and colleague, Doug Winfrey. What is up, Douglas? How you doing?
Oh, welcome back to the show. It's always great to have you on.
Thank you.
And I want to continue talking about this niacin thing, as I've got an ABC News story here that's headline, Study Sees New Risks for Cholesterol Drug Niacin. And it always bothers me.
Wait a minute. Did they call it a drug, Douglas?
Yeah, they're calling it a drug. And it's just sort of like years ago, they used to, prescribe a lot of lithium to people that had psychological bipolar problems. And lithium's a mineral, but they call it a drug. They call it a drug, right? And just like they're calling vitamin B3 a drug, niacin. And, of course, as they point out in this news article, they say there's 2 studies out that reveal more side effects from niacin or vitamin B3, I added, a drug that hundreds of thousands of Americans take for cholesterol problems and general heart health. A prominent doctors say the drug now seems too risky for routine use. It's sold over the counter and in higher prescription dosage. Some people take it alone or with statins like Lipitor. They say the main problem that people have, I've actually witnessed this in people, the flushing, where the face gets all red and kind of flushed.
There's non-flush niacin. Did they tell you that?
There's I guess it's a kind of a timed release or.
No, niacinamide. It's a tweaked version of it, and it's non-flush.
Right. And this was all put out in the New England Journal of Medicine. And according to one of the lead authors here, Dr. Donald Lloyd-Jones of Northwest University in Chicago, says a larger study suggests that for every 200 people we treat with niacin, there is 1 excess death, plus higher rates of bleeding, infections, and other problems. A completely unacceptable level of harm.
What's he talking about? Niacin is people are dying from taking niacin?
Well, they're making a correlation,
And by the way, do you know that this study was done on a extended release niacin with something called laropiprant? Did they tell you that?
Yeah, that was mentioned later in the article.
Yeah, right. It's not niacin, folks. It's niacin with this toxic drug called laropiprant. And by the way, this is going to be they're testing this new drug, and it is really a drug. Niacin is just niacin, and that's wonderful for lowering cholesterol. But this new stuff is a drug, and I forgot the name of it, called, it's combined with niacin and this stuff called laropiprant, which is a drug. It's a medication that forces your blood vessels to open up. Just a typical nonsensical drug.
Is it called Tredaptive?
That's the one in Europe. Yeah, in Europe they call it Tred something.
It's a Tredaptive, put out by Merck & Company.
That's right. And the new one, the version here is going to be Cordaptive and not Tredaptive. But the point is it's a blend of niacin and toxic laropipirant, which is a drug that forces your blood vessels to open up. So it's not niacin they're comparing it to. That's important to recognize, even though ABC and the mainstream press will tell you, well, they're comparing niacin to the drugs. They're not comparing niacin. They're comparing niacin with laropipirant, or the pharmaceutical version of niacin, and then they're telling you, oh, well, people are having problems with it. Well, listen, niacin is an essential nutrient, okay? Your body needs it. It can't exist without it. If you take niacin out of the diet and you don't have any niacin, you deal with pellagra, which is marked by the 4 Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and death. And that's what happens if you don't get niacin. So what we're talking about here, Doug, is using a nutrient, using an essential nutrient. And when we say essential, we mean it's like air. So it's basically like using air instead of using drugs. What if I could tell you that you could use air to lower your cholesterol, or you could use a statin drug with side effects like cancer and diabetes and muscle weakness and memory problems, etc., and liver toxicity? What would you say? Well, I'm going to take the air. Well, that's what vitamins are. They're like air. They're the molecular biochemical version of air, and that's why they call them essential nutrients. You can't live without them, but as it turns out, a little bit of niacin will lower your cholesterol. Doug, do you ever wonder, maybe elevated cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, diabetes, all of these things that niacin can help treat or help reduce, maybe they're just the signs of niacin deficiency?
Could well be, I would think.
Right? How many people do you suppose are not getting enough niacin? And by the way, niacin is a very important relationship between niacin and the neurotransmitter serotonin. And so under conditions of serotonin, and when you're under a lot of stress, your body will you become more deficient in niacin. So if you're not supplementing with niacin throughout the day, by the way, because it's water soluble and you urinate it out, you could very well be running into subclinical or clinical even niacin deficiencies. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll continue this discussion on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, or 888-379-2552. Toll free. We'd love to hear from you on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're coming back with more wonderful educational health information right after this on the ZBS Radio Network. Don't go away. Before we went to break, Doug, we were talking about this whole thing about niacin and niacin deficiency. It turns out that niacin is a really kind of strange vitamin. It's one of the strangest of the vitamins, and that's because your body can actually make a little bit of niacin. Under ordinary circumstances, vitamins are essential in the sense that you need to get them in your diet. You can't make them. The body can't make them. But niacin is one of those that the body can make a little bit of. And that's because it's so darn important. You can't go without niacin. But you need to have a raw material to make niacin. And that raw material is an amino acid called tryptophan. And many of you have heard of tryptophan. Tryptophan's found in dairy products and meat. Tryptophan can get turned into niacin, and using something like 5-HTP, or making sure you're getting enough dairy, or using the Slender FX, which has whey protein, which is a good source of dairy. That'll get you your tryptophan, and that will get turned into niacin. However, as it turns out, tryptophan also gets turned into stress hormone, a special hormone, special stress management hormone called serotonin. Again, you guys have probably heard of serotonin. And the more stress you're under, or the lower your serotonin levels, the less likely your body will be to make niacin. So the more stress you're under, the more stress and we're all under a lot of stress, or the more sugar we're eating, which can put a burden on the serotonin stress system of the body, the less likely your body's going to be to make its own niacin. And if you're not supplementing, you're going to be in big trouble. And if you compound this with the fact that niacin's water soluble, which means that every time you go to the bathroom, you lose your niacin. If you're not using your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, if you're not taking, you're not on the Healthy Start Pack, you're not getting on you don't have the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, there's a really, really, really good chance that you're going to be deficient in this super mega important vitamin B3. And that means higher blood cholesterol, higher blood fats, higher risk of heart disease, higher risks of the 4 Ds as well. That means more dermatitises and unexplained rashes. That means more digestive problems, diarrhea, loose stools, bloating, even heartburn and gas are likely. Certainly memory problems, brain problems. And ultimately, if you don't have niacin at all for a long enough period of time, you can end up with the disease pellagra, which can be fatal in the long run. So it's so easy to get on a good nutritional supplement program. It's so easy to make sure that you're using these nutrients on a regular basis. It's so easy to get on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. If you do nothing else and you want to lower your blood cholesterol, you do nothing else, get on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and get on the Sweeties and watch what happens. And I'm telling you this, I've seen it over and over and over again. Just Google niacin and lowering cholesterol, or take a look at Dr. Parsons' book, Cholesterol Control Without Diet. Doug, I don't know of any case where a prescription medication taken on the long term is in anybody's interest. And how, you're a layperson, Doug, does that even make sense that you can take it?
It makes no sense at all to think that you're going to... I was telling you a story off the air there about my father that had a heart attack when he was in his mid to late 40s, and he was subsequently put on these cholesterol-lowering drugs, and took
he
them
was perfectly healthy for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and he took them over 40 years. He ultimately had at least a half a dozen of the angioplasties and a triple bypass and a quadruple bypass. And when he did pass away, he passed away from a heart attack. So, yeah, that drug did him a lot of good other than make his doctor rich.
Right. And he really loved his doctor, though. I bet your dad loved the medical model. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get your phone calls when we come back from our break. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, or 888-379-2552. Toll free. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program on the ZBS Radio Network. Toll free. Let's take our first phone call of the day. Douglas, who's up first?
All right, let's head to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Gwen, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Gwendolyn.
Yes. Good afternoon.
What's going on?
I'm an Afro-American female, 64. I have severe diabetes. I've been diabetic for many years, and I have severe arthritis in my knees. In fact, they won't do knee replacement because a part of that is because of the weight also. So my question to you is, I have been taking the glucogel and the tangerine since about February, and I do see a little improvement in my knees and my ability to get around. So I want to know, we
got to get you some more stuff here. We got to get you some...
Yes, and so what I'm calling for is two things, the arthritis and the diabetes and the obesity.
No, I'm
a complicated case.
No, you're not. You're simple. All we're going to do is take care of your blood sugar, and everything else will fall right into place, okay? That's all you got to do. Take care of the blood sugar. Now, you may have some digestive stuff going on that we need to take care of too, but we're just going to address the blood sugar. Once you stabilize the blood sugar, you're going to want to focus on some digestive health issues. I'm sure you must have some of those. In fact, I know you have some of those.
It's not bad.
No.
I'm thinking diarrhea and things like that.
Whatever. You got some digestive problem. Not Psychic Ben on the other end here, ma'am, but that's just how the body works. You know, if you're obese and you got diabetes and arthritis, you guaranteed have some kind of digestive stuff going on. But let's take care of the blood sugar, because that's really, really important. And once you start nailing that down, everything else should start to improve. How come you're not on the Sweeties? Or did I hear you say you're on the Sweeties?
I did.
Oh, you were on the Sweeties. Okay, good.
And I've been taking one tablet maybe with every meal.
Take like 2 or 3 after every meal. I take 2. I don't have blood sugar control problems, but I still take, that I know of, but I take 2 or 3 after every meal. So you want to double?
After a meal, not before.
Well, with the meal. Okay? And it wouldn't hurt you to swig, if you're not already, swig on a little apple cider vinegar after your meals, too. That's very important. That can help support the blood sugar control of the Sweeties. So give yourself a little shot of apple cider vinegar. Even taking a little apple cider vinegar before you go to bed sometimes helps, folks. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water after you have your sweet meals. And also remember that bread and oatmeal and cereal and bagels and pasta and rice and potatoes, those all count as sugar. Even though they're not like a dessert type of sugar, they'll still throw off your blood sugar. So after you eat meals that contain those kinds of foods, make sure you're drinking a lot of water, and make sure you're drinking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine has got the niacin in there and the thiamine in there, and both of those are very, very, very helpful for stabilizing blood sugar. And make sure, if you're not already, you're using the OsteoFX and the OsteoFX, which has magnesium, which is also very important for helping stabilize blood sugar. And then first thing in the morning, you want to make sure that you're drinking your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Not only will that give you a little bit of energy, but it will also help dilute your blood sugar. You know, first thing in the morning, the blood sugar tends to be very concentrated. And if you've gone to the bathroom once or twice in the middle of the night, it's extra concentrated. And if you've gone to the bathroom a couple times in the middle of the night, you've also lost some of your sugar control vitamins. So making sure you're sipping on the BTT first thing in the morning. morning, making sure you're sipping on your BTT all day long. Make sure you're sipping on the BTT after all your meals is also very important. If you're having a problem weaning yourself off of the foods that mess up your blood sugar, see if you can get into, grab yourself some of that Slender FX. That can help you stay away or wean yourself off of foods that throw off your blood sugar. And last but not least, the Z Radical is a very, very underappreciated supplement for helping stabilize blood sugar. The fucoidan in there can have very positive effects on stabilizing blood sugar and helping your body process sugar as well. Thanks for your call, Gwendolyn. Appreciate it. We're going to take a break and come back with more phone calls. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, or 888-379-2552 toll free. I'm Pharmacist Ben along with Doug Winfrey sitting in for Dr. Wallach today. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program on the ZBS Radio Network. We'll be back right after this. Let's take our next phone call, Douglas.
All right, let's head to Yuba City, California. And Ron, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Ron. What's up, Ronald? Ron? I hear nothing but silence. Yes, Ron, what's up? Can't hear you, Ron.
Yeah, hi, Ben. Can you hear me now?
Hey, is this my friend Rockin' Ron?
Yeah, hi, Ben.
What's up, Rockin' Ron? How you doing?
Yeah, I have a friend, Candace, who she's having silent migraine aura.
A silent migraine aura. Wait, is that something new?
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
Aura or a silent migraine. Migraine. She has chronic migraines and been diagnosed with SBP.
I've heard of screaming migraines, but I never heard of a silent migraine. But in any case, here's the deal with migraine headaches, okay? Migraine headaches are caused by how blood vessels open up and close. When blood vessels open up and close, weird things happen. When they open up and close in the head, pain happens. A migraine headache starts off with blood vessels in the brain opening up, expanding, and then there's this rebound contraction, and that prodrome, that weird feeling that precedes a migraine headache, as most sufferers will tell you. There's this kind of strange feeling that occurs before the headache happens. That's the blood vessels opening up, and the body responds by closing them down, and then you get your migraine headache. The question is why do the blood vessels open up in the first place? That's all you need to know for migraines, folks. Why are the blood vessels in the brain opening up, or in the head opening up? And the reason is because something is getting into the system that's activating a stress or emergency response. That almost always means food. Now, it can also be hormones, or it can be a combination thereof. But the first thing you want to do is focus on the digestive system and on food intolerances and allergies. I would be using the Biolumin Nightly Essence, the Ultimate Enzymes, the Z Radical, all the wonderful longevity products for helping strengthen the digestive system. Look for food allergies. See if you can link the migraine headaches to specific foods, or see if you can link digestive problems to specific foods and then eliminate those foods. So using digestive support and then eliminating problem foods, making sure she's on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, because deficiencies in any of those nutrients can exacerbate migraine headaches. And of course, the electrical nutrients, the water-soluble B vitamins, and the electrolytes like potassium and sodium and calcium and magnesium, especially magnesium, are mega important for migraine headaches. In fact, if you want two nutrients that are used specifically for treating migraine headaches, vitamin B2, which is riboflavin, which will be found in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine as well as the Ultimate Daily, and then also magnesium, which you'll get in the OsteoFX. Those are two important nutrients specifically for migraine headaches. So number one, focus on foods. Number two, focus on the electrolytes, and also, if you want to use specific nutrients, riboflavin, vitamin B2, and magnesium. Last but not least, because there's a relationship between estrogen, the hormone estrogen, and migraine headaches, and a lot of women will tell you they get their migraine headaches at specific times of the month. You may want to focus on essential fatty acids, the Ultimate EFAs, which you'll get in the Healthy Start Pack. Just get Candace on the Healthy Start Pack, and then add in all the digestive support, including the Z Radical and the Ultimate Enzymes and the Biolumin Nightly Essence, and see if she can link her problems up to specific foods, and then, of course, eliminating those foods. That would be my protocol for a migraine headache sufferer. Thank you so much, Ronald. Appreciate your call. Good to talk to you, buddy. We'll talk again soon. I'm going to be doing a talk out in Santa Cruz for Rockin' Ron, coming, I think it's August 23rd. So if you're in the Santa Cruz, San Francisco area, love to see you out there. We'll get you more information as the weeks roll on by on my radio program, The Bright Side, on the Genesis Communication Network. Okay, 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, 888-379-2552, toll free. Who's next, Doug?
Let's head to Maryland. And Linda, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Linda.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Good. I am currently on Healthy Bone and Joint Star Pack. I take Sweeties, OsteoFX, glucogels. I'm on a whole regimen that Dr. Wallach had put me on for something else.
Okay.
But right now I'm starting to have problems with my knee, and I've had all kind of tests done. But right now they're telling me that it is bone spurs.
Okay.
I wanted to avoid surgery, but it's at a point where I'm having problems walking at this point, and it's very painful.
Oh, that's awful. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it a lot. So here's the deal. Bone spurs have to do with how your body is processing calcium. Calcium processing is very dependent on fats and the fatty system of the body. So when you have problems with bone spurs and calcium deposits, the first two things you want to think about is how you're processing fats, and the second thing is how you're dealing with sugar. So I would be guessing that you have some kind of long-standing digestive health issues, and you may even have some blood sugar issues. Does that sound familiar at all to you? Did anybody tell you any of that stuff?
No, I know I'm gluten intolerant.
Well, that's a digestive health issue. If you're gluten intolerant.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, if you're gluten intolerant, you probably have some other issues. And that's not unusual. Fats are absorbed in the small intestine, and if you have gluten intolerance, there's a very good chance that part of your body is damaged. So I'd be looking at the food thing, for the digestive thing, like I was talking about with Ron a moment ago. First of all, look for problem foods. Gluten is one problem food. Most of us have issues with gluten, but there's other things too. It's not just gluten. Gluten gets all the press, but there's other complexes and proteins found in foods, in grains, that can be problematic, in vegetables as well. Interestingly, there's not a lot of toxins in meat, but there's a lot of toxins in vegetables. So a lot of vegetarians, a lot of vegans, a lot of folks who are subsisting on grains, they don't realize that they run a higher risk of food toxicity and food allergenicity from those kinds of foods than you do from meat. So if you're eating a lot of spinach or vegetables or tomatoes or potatoes or grains, you may want to start looking. I'm not saying those are bad foods necessarily, but you may want to start looking to how your body responds to those foods and then eliminate those. Get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence. You might want to consider Jordan Rubin's new line, the Beyond Organics, Longevity's new line from Jordan Rubin, the Beyond Organic probiotics and the Suera V and the Amasai. Those are rich in good bacteria, which can be very important for calcium metabolism from the intestine, and a lot of us have problems with these good bacteria. In addition to the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Use the ultimate enzymes after all your meals. Take a little swig or two of apple cider vinegar. Throw in some Z-Radical as well. And I'd be looking at the digestive component. Afterwards, after you get that nailed down, then you're going to want to start to use the Sweeties and some of the other blood sugar control supplements. But for now, I would be focusing on digestive health. Keeping in mind, this is so important because we don't ever hear people say this. Keep this in mind. Fat metabolism, how your body processes fats, how your body absorbs fats, intake of the ultimate EFAs and other fatty vitamins and fatty nutrients plays a major, major role in how we process calcium. Vitamin D alone, which is a fatty vitamin, is the most important vitamin when it comes to calcium metabolism. Vitamin D activation requires a healthy liver and a healthy kidney. It requires a healthy digestive system. So making sure that your digestive system and fat absorption in particular is operating pristinely is very, very important. If you can get out in some sun. I think you say, are you an African American? Did I hear you say that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So one thing about black skin is really good skin. It's super strong skin. Melanin, or black pigment, dark pigment, has some electrical properties that make African American skin super, super healthy. But one downside to having dark skin, not just black skin, but Latino skin or dark Semitic skin, Arab type skin, any kind of skin that has a lot of melanin in it, it'll be much more difficult for the body to get vitamin D from the sun. The melanin protects you from the sun, but it also prevents the skin from being able to make vitamin D as effectively from sunlight. So vitamin D deficiency in African Americans is very, very common. And it's it's something that's underappreciated and something that you want to take into account. So using the ultimate essential fatty acids, making sure you're getting some sun, and as well as making sure that your liver and your intestines and your kidneys are operating correctly. Very important for vitamin D, which ultimately will affect calcium. Does that make sense? Did I explain that okay?
It makes great sense. I have one last question, and I don't know if you can answer this or not.
Sure.
Would you recommend me getting the surgery, just to get it shaved down?
I can't answer that question. I know there's time. I can't answer that question, but I know there are times if you're absolutely miserable, you don't want to be suffering. But once you have the surgery, if you don't correct the problem, the biochemical problem, it's coming back. So even if you do have the surgery, make sure you follow the protocol I just gave you and follow Dr. Wallach's advice as well. Thanks so much. I appreciate your call. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program on the ZBS Radio Network. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, 888-379-2552, toll free. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. Pharmacist Ben here, sitting in for Doc, along with Doug Winfrey. Let's see if we can get another few calls in before we have to go, Doug.
All right, let's head to Ohio. And Audrey, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
What's the word, Audrey?
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I've been having severe pain in my joints, my back, and especially my left wrist, which I notice is starting to turn outward.
Oh, that's not good. Sounds like some arthritis. Sound right?
And I finally got into orthopedic doctor, and he
fixed you right up, didn't he? Now you're all good.
No.
No? Are you kidding? But he's a doctor. Are you serious?
To another specialist.
Oh, another one. But he took care of you, right? So you're all good now, right?
I haven't seen him yet.
Okay. Well, he'll probably take care of you, and you'll be just perfect and good to go, because that's what doctors do. They're doctors. They went to medical school. No, I'm just teasing you. Here's the deal. Arthritis is an inflammatory disease. Now, there's two kinds of arthritis. There's the rheumatoid arthritis, and then there's the osteoarthritis. How old are you, ma'am?
I'm in my 60s.
Okay. You have a hit. Go ahead.
Didn't have the rheumatoid.
You don't have.
Anyway, when I took X-rays, it's bone on bone in my left hand.
Well, that means you're degrading, ma'am. That means your body's breaking down. So we got to start building you up again. Body's like a business. In your business, you're always spending money and making money, spending money, making money. That's just the nature of business. It's not like you never spend money. You are always spending money, and hopefully you're making more than you're spending. That's called being in the black. If you're spending more than you're making, that's called being in the red. Body's the same way. You're always building, and you're always breaking down. It goes back and forth. In the Bible, it says you can't put new wine in old vessels, and what it means is you got to have a fresh body all the time, and that's how the body maintains itself. It breaks down the old, and it builds up the new. Unfortunately, as we get older, that doesn't happen. As we get older, we end up spending more than we're making, and instead of having a body that's in the black, we got a body that's in the red. Well, guess which way your body is, ma'am? It's in the red. We got to turn that thing around. We got to get you in the black. We got to get you into being a bodybuilder. Not necessarily a weightlifter and like an athlete in the gym, but we got to get you to building your body up again, and there's lots of ways to do it. The first thing, always the first thing, by the way, does that make sense so far? We're going to turn you into a bodybuilder, okay? You there? Does that make sense? You follow me? We want to build you up. We want to strengthen you. Build that bone up, build the cartilage up, build everything up. So the first thing you want to do is you want to remove anything that slows down the building process, that inflames or blocks building. And that means foods especially. That means foods you have a problem with. And it's your job, your homework is going to be to look for foods that cause you distress. And don't have any preconceived ideas. Oh, well, I've eaten this all my life. Or, oh, I know I'm okay here. And don't have any preconceived ideas. Just go in it with beginner's mind. Just not having any preconceived notions. Just eat a food, see how you feel. If you have any kind of digestive problems, bloating, discomfort, heartburn, loose stools, whatever, constipation, whatever, that's a food you want to stay away from. And the point I'm trying to make here is that you need to lay off of any kind of foods that cause inflammation, because that's the enemy of building. If you want, you can add in the Biolumin Nightly Essence too, and the Ultimate Enzymes will not only get you some digestive support, but they can also have some pain relieving properties. That's one of the neat little side benefits of the Ultimate Enzymes, is if you take them on with food, you'll get your digestive support, but if you take them on an empty stomach, you'll get some anti-inflammatory benefits and pain relieving benefits. I would be adding the Z Radical, which can help sort of lubricate those joints and also help you with your digestive system as well. Then you want to make sure that you're using all the bone building and joint building kinds of supplements. The glucogel caps are an absolute must-have. You don't have an option there, in my opinion. I throw in some Slender FX, make sure you're getting some good protein, and of course the Ultimate Essential Fatty Acids are important. That would be the Healthy Start Pack. You'll get the Ultimate EFAs, and then you'll get the calcium and magnesium in the osteo product, and then you'll also get, of course, your Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients, which feature the B vitamins, vitamins B3 and B5, pantothenic acid, and niacin may have a special important role to play in helping with arthritis. And vitamin E, which you'll get in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, also has an anti-arthritis effect as well. And then you might also want to throw in the Ultimate Daily, which will give you the basic building block essential nutrients too. Okay, I hope we helped you out. That's the music. We got to go. Thank you so much for listening, friends. If you're not on a nutritional supplement program and you're dealing with any kind of health condition, degenerative health condition, and the doctor's told you you're going to be on a prescription drug all your life, get yourself on the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. Get yourself on the Healthy Start Pack at the very least. Start sipping on that Beyond Tangy Tangerine and find out what so many millions of people have found out. When you start a nutritional supplement program, when you get on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, there's no way you're not going to feel better. And if you want, you can also help sell the product and earn thank you checks as well. That's all the time we have for today. I'm Pharmacist Ben. For Doc Wallach, Doug Winfrey, all the folks at the ZBS Radio Network, have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.